Now, the next film I wanted to take a look at on today's show is a brand new film from the UK called Nemesis. Now, the UK has been producing some absolutely fantastic films over the last 12 months, especially through the whole COVID thing. There's been some absolutely fantastic films coming out of the UK, and Nemesis joins that list. Now, Nemesis comes from director James Crow. Now, for those of you who've been a long-time listener to the show, you'll know that I'm a little bit of a fan of James Crow. I've loved some of the cult films that he's made over the last few years, and he's this great independent film writer and director who has just made these fantastic films over the years, and they're the kind of films that a lot of people ignore because they see that they're out on VOD or they're out on DVD and they completely ignore them, which is a shame because his films are absolutely brilliant. Now, he's kind of branched out of the horror genre that we normally expect for him with his new film Nemesis. This very much goes into it's a crime thriller. I would say it's a little bit of a gangster thriller, and basically what this film is all about is John Morgan, a organised crime figure played by Billy Murray, decides that he is heading back to London with his wife Sadie, played by Janine Narissa Southcott. Now, you would think that that's pretty simple. He's just making the move back from Turkey back to London, but he kind of lands in the middle of an ant's nest. First of all, he's got a police officer who is really struggling with his life. Frank Conway, played by Nick Moran. He has never got over the fact that he has a personal vendetta for John. Wants him arrested, can't believe that John's got away with some of the stuff that he's got away with over the years, and wants him behind bars. Now, it's actually affected his life to the point where he's become an alcoholic and he's about to lose his badge. Also, you have John's brother Richard, played by Frank Harper, who isn't too happy to see his brother coming back either. Then, at the same time, Frank's daughter, Kate, played by Amber Moore, she's become an Insta girl. She's got a huge following on Instagram, but one of the things that's been causing a problem with her life is that she started a relationship with a girl called Zoe, played by Lucy Arden, but Kate won't come clean about the relationship, not to her family at first, and also not to her Instagram fans, and that's causing a little bit of a problem between Kate and Zoe. But Kate's hoping to kind of change that because she actually wants to introduce Zoe to her mum and dad. Now, I think one of the things I actually loved about this film is the simplicity of it. Now, if you go into this film expecting a gangster film with a bunch of shootouts and car chases and things like that, you're not going to get it with Nemesis. This is a film, of course, it's been filmed on a very tight budget, and keeping in line with what this director, James Crow, has done with his films in the past, this film is kept so that he can film it on a low budget, but it still looks very good. So there's a lot of dialogue scenes in this, and that might sound like that's going to make it a boring film. It doesn't. There are times when this film actually has all the intensity of theatre, which I absolutely really enjoyed. There's a brilliant scene in here where John's receiving almost a telling off from another criminal, and it is an absolutely fantastic scene to watch. The dialogue is absolutely brilliant. There's also another great scene where Frank Conway is basically telling his life story to a bartender, and again, it just works so well. It is absolutely fantastic. There's some brilliant scenes in here too between Sadie and also Zoe, and they're just these great scenes where it's really weird because normally women are kind of treated very disrespectfully in scenes like that, and although there's nudity involving the character of Sadie, played, as I mentioned before, by Janine Narissa Southcott, it never feels like it's out of place. It feels like it's what her character would do, and they kind of have this scene where Zoe walks in on Sadie in the nude, and it actually enhances the story because you start to think that, hang on a minute, it looks like Zoe's actually attracted to the woman that could become her mother-in-law. it's a great scene. It works so well, and it sets up something brilliant that's going to happen later on. Now, I don't want to spoil what's going to happen later on in this film, but let's just say the twist in this film you do not see coming, and it is what makes this film so special. Now, as I already mentioned, one of the powers of this film is the screenplay. An absolutely fantastic screenplay that's been written by Adam Stephen Kelly. As a writer, Jonathan Southcott also helped out a little bit as well with the storyline, but it's an absolutely fantastic screenplay. This film does rely on its dialogue to lift the story along, and I think it does that really, really well, and it leads to this moment in the film that, look, I don't know how else to say it. You just do not see it coming. It is an absolutely fantastic climax to this film. There's also some great acting in this film. Of course, any film where dialogue is a major focus, it means that the actors have got to come to the fore. Now, Billy Murray, I think, is fantastic in this film as John Morgan. He conjures up all of those images of the great British actors over the years, and it really, really works. There's something very Michael Caine about his performance here. I also think that Janine Narissa Southcott here does a great job as well. Like, she is in, as I mentioned before, a kind of role where she's sexualized, but she's intelligent, and she juggles that so well throughout this film that she actually becomes one of the strongest characters in this film as it goes along. I also think the performances by Amber Moore and Lucy Arden are absolutely brilliant as well. They have some really pivotal moments in this film, and it works. Now, of course, being filmed on a low budget, some of the things you can tell that it's a low budget special effect, but you're not relying too much on that in this film. Like I said, it's the dialogue that moves this film along. So if you're a fan of indie cinema and you're a fan of gangster flicks, definitely go out and check out Nemesis. I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 5.